That dude is the coolest ever.
Yeah. Someday I'd like to be like that. You know, a kid finds a dead bird, you give him $20 for it. Yeah, that's cool.
Beavis, life just keeps getting better.
Hey, I'm Jacob. You're watching Hymns in My Wake. Today, gonna go over some VCLT I've received from a couple of outstanding gentlemen. Rick over the Dreadful Minutes and Brian Arkham. First off, background. We've got Ubiquitous at Portus Inferi playing. Mentioned this a couple videos ago on the response to Raul Serrano about Love at First Listen. Yeah, really good stuff. Sorry if it's a bit distracting. I usually go for something a little more subdued, but just really feeling this one tonight, so put it on. These guys are from the UK, kind of melodic death metal and kind of a Black Dahlia Murder vein with some kind of black metal influences to it. But yeah, hope you guys like it. Okay, first up, we'll go over this first batch of stuff Rick sent me. I've been sitting on this for a while, and all this stuff. Sorry if I'm not great at describing it. Some of this I'm not real fresh on listening to it, but I've been meaning to make this video, so figured I better get it done, because first thing here I'm going to show is the latest Mayhem album, Demon, however you say Demon with an A in it, I don't know. I talked with Rick and told him, even on the streams and stuff, I'd mentioned, I'm not a Mayhem fan. I hadn't found any of their stuff that I really cared for. Some of the live stuff that I'd listened to at Dead was pretty good. It was alright. But it's just never Mayhem was just never a band that latched on to me that I ever really cared about. But he decided he'd introduce me to the newer stuff, see if that did anything for me. I had an extra copy of it. It's a good album. I didn't fall in love with it, but it's something I listen to every now and again. It's been a while since I've listened to it, but I didn't dislike it. It was solid, to say the least. Better than I expected. So I'll definitely revisit it some more. Mayhem. This next one, I already had a copy of, but I'm glad he sent it to me because it made me go back and listen to it, and because I think it was something I got in like from a sale or a grab bag or something, and I probably listened to it once and then put it on the shelf because I was distracted by other stuff that I got at the same time. So yeah, I knew it was atmospheric black metal, but I really had no recollection of anything about it. So it was good to go back and revisit it, and it's actually a really, really good album. I don't know if I mentioned the name. It's Faunus, and the album is Where Everything Begins with an End. These guys are out of Greece, and I've been really digging into Greek black metal, too. So it was nice to get something, or something I already had. But I might as well not have even had it. Just sitting on the shelf. Something I had completely forgot about until I saw it in the package, and I was like, oh, that looks familiar. I think I have it, and so I went and found it. Yeah, it's super good atmospheric black metal. Has a definite uniqueness to it from what I'm remembering. It's been a minute since I've listened to these, but it's definitely something that, like I said with Mayhem, that I'm gonna continue to listen to going forward. Faunus. As soon as I got the extra copy, haven't quite decided how I'm going to give that away. If I'm gonna forward it on in another VCLT or include it in some kind of giveaway. Kind of got some rough drafts of things going on in my mind on some stuff that I want to do on the channel, some stuff I want to some places where I want to kind of incorporate some giveaways. So we'll kind of see how that plays out. But if you're watching this channel, there's a chance that down the road you could end up with a copy of this. So next up, we've got EP from a band that's local to Rick. This is Bloodspore from Philadelphia, and this is Fungal Warfare Upon All Life. I dug the hell out of this one. It's real kind of grimy, dirty, sludgy death doom with some probably more towards the death side of things, with some kind of black metal vocals, I must say. It's just an EP. Bloodspore. And then the last CD he sent over to me was Mexican death metal classic. This is Cenotaph with Big Gloomy Reflections of Our Hidden Sorrows. I hadn't listened to this before. I'd seen the cover around. I kind of knew it was a notable album. I guess it's considered to be a bit of a classic Mexican death metal album. Rick did mention that this is more than, there's a good chance that this is a bootleg copy, but nevertheless it's cool to have it. It's something I never would have gone out of my way to check out. As you guys know, who kind of follow me, know that I'm not the biggest death metal guy. It's not something I really go out of my way for too much. So it's nice to kind of get some stuff kind of sent my way, some suggestions on some shit to get into. I like melodic death metal, stuff like this, but just your old school death metal, your brutal deaths, all that kind of stuff. Just generally isn't my calling card, but this one was super good. One of the guys went on to form the Chasm, which is another kind of legendary death metal band. I know the name. I know the kind of their status out there and being a pretty legendary band, but I've yet to listen to them. That's probably where I'll go next. on this path is I'll probably start checking out the Chasm. I know, I'm pretty sure I've heard that their stuff is super hard to get, so probably just end up streaming them a little bit. But yeah, those are the CDs he sent me, and then he sent over one record with this batch, and this is it's just Haunting with Sealed Shut. This is probably the thing that I listened to the most out of what he sent over. Another death metal album put out on Boris. It's kind of a lot of the stuff that was going here. So, lyric sheet there. Pictures of the band. I guess this is kind of a underground classic in the Atlanta scene. I guess they're pretty influential early on in that scene. Or yeah, in the early 2010s, that area, but they're pretty big in that local scene. I guess is what I'm trying to say. This was the only thing they ever put out. Just kidding, this. I'll show that. Just kind of got a little blurb about the history of this. Yeah, and then so members went on after they disbanded. One guy went on to be the frontman of Cloak, and another guy is in Sadistic Ritual, which is another band that I am aware of that I've yet to check out, but I've heard good things about. I've heard people praise them, so it's another rabbit hole I need to go down. But yeah, Haunting, Sealed Shut. This record kicked ass. It's just a essentially 4-song. It's got an intro, but 4-song EP, I guess you'd call it. It was a single-sided 12-inch. Yeah, super cool. Okay. Okay, now the stuff that Brian Arkham sent over my way. First, I'll show off another kind of death metal classic. This is one I'd never heard of, but I guess it's pretty revered in the kind of a cult classic. Out of Finland, this is Molested with Bloodtrom. Yeah, this, from what I remember, this scene was pretty wild. Yeah, I really enjoyed this one. It's right there with probably the Haunting and Cenotaph is my favorite kind of death metal that I got in these VCLTs. But yeah, Molested. One of the guys from Molested went on to be kind of the main man behind Borkingar. And then it also had mind room blank. Member from some black metal band, I can't fucking remember it now. But yeah. A couple more things he sent over. A couple of Catatonia CDs. We got Tonight's Decision and Discouraged Ones. Discouraged Ones, I believe, is kind of the transition album out of their kind of Death Doom era, that early era. After the vocalist kind of had his vocal damage, and they decided to go this other direction. Yeah, this is probably, you know, Katatonia is one of my favorite bands. Brian reached out and asked if I had these before he sent them over to make sure I did, because I know he knows that I'm pretty high on Katatonia. So yeah, it was super cool to send these over. But yeah, Discouraged Ones is probably my least favorite Katatonia album. It's just, you can tell it's a transition. They're transitioning their sounds, and they're not quite sure what they're doing yet. Yeah, I'm glad to have it in the collection, but it's probably the Katatonia album that I'll spend the least amount of time with, because it's so kind of what's the word? Unfulfilled. Like, there's a lot of unfulfilled direction that they went. I don't know what I'm trying to say, but they weren't quite sure where they're going yet. But it's a nice decision. I believe is the next one, and this is when they really kind of found their voice, found what their flavor was, what their kind of signature sound was. Yeah. This one, probably a middle of the pack album for me in the Katatonia catalog, which is with how I kind of revere Katatonia. It's still a pretty damn good album if it's in the middle of the pack. So yeah. Then another tandem of CDs he sent me from the same band. We got The Sentenced, which I think this is kind of like a compilation. It's story, a recollection. I should have done a little more. I think this is all. It's a compilation of bonus tracks, EP tracks, stuff like that, and then he also sent over Crimson. Sentence is a band that I'd seen the name around, but I'd never dug into. And I was pretty impressed with this. It's kind of melodic death metal. From what I understand, they started more as a traditional death metal band, went towards melodic death metal, and ended up being more of a gothic band at the end of it. And I think these, specifically this is the one I've listened to the most, so I'll talk a bit more on this one. So this kind of feels like and I didn't dig into any of their other stuff besides these two. This is the only Sentence material that I've kind of dug into so far. But from what I got from listening to this feels like they're kind of transitioning away from the melodic death metal into the more gothic side of things. Specifically, the vocals kind of make me feel like they're going for they're really trying to emulate him. Yeah, which, I'm a big him fan, so it wasn't terrible. It was, not gonna say it was the biggest plus on the album, but it didn't detract from it for me. Yeah, we'll definitely listen to this a bit more. And then Brian also sent me over a couple records. He was kind enough to send these over. This is one that I'd had on my had been wanting to get my hands on for a while. This is Eller Sith, 1959. These guys are from Russia, and this album is based on the, if anybody's familiar, the Dyatlov Pass incident, which is kind of there's a lot of theories about it, and a lot of conspiracy stuff and paranormal stuff that people talk about with it. What happened was a group of students, I believe, and they were hiking out in this area, mountain range in, I believe it's northeastern, northeastern Russia. And so they're hiking, and it's, you know, cold, snowy, whatever. You know, you get the picture. Northeastern Russia. And so they set up their camp, and there's a lot of details on this that are kind of important, but I'm just going to gloss over it, and you guys can go research it more. So they set up their camp, and then I guess in the middle of the night, something woke them, and something so serious, severe, that they didn't have time to even, you know, get shoes on to get dressed. They just had to bust out of their tent, and like I say, ran down the mountainside in the middle of the night, and they all ended up, you know, passing away. And a lot of them a few of them died from, you know, the elements. A few died, I think there was one or two that died from like blunt force trauma. There was one that was missing her tongue. All kinds of just kind of puzzling shit. Some of them were found down in a ravine. Just some crazy shit happened, and, you know, some people, there's theories about avalanches, theories about government weapons testings, and then there's more paranormal theories. Who really knows? I think the most logical thing that I saw was kind of the avalanche theory, and then the rest of the stuff was kind of caused by them being exposed and trying to, you know, run down a mountainside, and just kind of the perils of that happening in the dark. But yeah, and then there was also kind of some radiology contamination on some of their clothing and stuff. So yeah, a super interesting thing, like story, event worth looking into. That's the Dyatlov Pass incident, and then this has kind of a short blurb about that, but you can go on and Google, and there's quite a few articles you can read. I dug through some of those because it's really fascinating. But yeah, Ellersid. To the music side of this, yeah, this is kind of the soundtrack to that you'd expect. It's black metal, super dark, heavy. There's some kind of doominess to it. Yeah, I really glad he sent this over. It's really cool listen. Let's check that out. And then the last thing he sent me was the debut full length by Insomnium, In the Halls of Waiting. Yeah, another melodic death album. This is heavily influenced by that early Gothenburg sound. A lot of In Flames influence on this. Early In Flames influence, not that mid or late era stuff. Yeah, really phenomenal album. I had it on CD, so I guess Brian didn't know that I had it on CD, and he knew I liked Insomnium. You know, I had a greater appreciation for the band than probably he did, so he sent this my way. But I'm gonna send him over my CD copy and probably a couple of their other CDs that I have on vinyl now, you know, to kind of repay him for sending this one my way. You know, felt bad for taking his only copy due to misunderstanding, but yeah, super cool to have this. As Insomnium's one of my favorite melodic death metal bands. This one's on blue. Yeah, super cool to have that. But yeah, I'll wrap it up there. Again, thanks Brian, thanks Rick for sending this stuff my way. Super appreciative of that. Thanks for introducing me to a bunch of killer tunes. But yeah, I will see you guys next time.
It is in these hills that Juan Valdez and his trusty goat gather coffee beans every morning.